They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. G'day guys, how's it going? Screezilla here. And a bit of a special for Anzac Day, which is today. Now, Anzac Day is to celebrate the lives and to remember the Australian and New Zealand fighting forces who fought for the Commonwealth nation, Britain, under their flag in many a war. Today we're going to be looking at two members of the Anzacs, one from Australia and one from New Zealand, both of which the top aces in World War I, respectively for their nations. First of all, we're going to be looking at Robert A. Little. Now, Robert A. Little was born in Victoria, Australia, in Hawthorne. Long interested in aviation, Little decided to apply for pilot training at the Australia Army's Central Flying School in Point Cook. But with only 4 vacancies, he was rejected along with hundreds of others. He then decided to sail to England on July 1915 and become a qualified pilot at his own expense. Gaining his flying certificate with the Royal Aero Club at Hendon in October, he joined the Royal Navy Air Service, the RNAS. Now, in this time period, there was the Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Naval Air Service. So there was 2. There wasn't an RAF squadron at the time. The RAF did appear, but it was very late in the war. As a probationary flight sub-lieutenant on January 4, 1916, he suffered badly from air sickness early on, most likely brought on by the fumes from the castor oil that was employed as an engine lubricant for the aircraft that flew in England. Little arrived in France on June 1916 for service with No. 1 Naval Wing at Dunkirk, where he initially flew Sopwith 1.5 Strutters in bombing raids. Now these were twin-seater planes with a observer gunner in the back, and were mainly used for bombing raids. They carried, I think, about 60 to 70 pounds of bombs. Not much, but enough to cause damage. The next month he was posted to No. 8 Squadron of the Royal Navy Air Service, Navy 8 as it was called, flying Sopwith Pups on the Western Front. Under fellow Australian Stanley Globe, Little scored his first aerial victory on November 23rd, destroying an enemy 2-seater northeast of Le Basset. By the following February, he had 4 victories to his credit, and was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, DSC, conspicuous for bravery in successfully attacking and bringing down hostile machines. In one action on the 4th of December, Little and Globe fought like madmen against a large formation of German fighters. Little did not return to base with Globe and was thought lost, but had only landed near Allied lines to clear his jammed gun before taking off again to continue the fight. On the 24th of April 1917, Little engaged a DFWCV, forcing it to land. He then followed the German aircraft down to claim it as captured and personally take its crew prisoner at gunpoint. The Australian flipped his own plane in a ditch after touching down, however, prompting the surrendering enemy pilot to suggest, "It looks as if I've brought you down, not you. Not you me, doesn't it?" A fine little bit of German comedy there that we don't see very often. It's an interesting story during the war. Navy 8's conversion to the Sopwith triplane in April saw Little begin to score heavily, eventually registering 24 victories on the type to bring up his total to 28 by the 10th of July, including twin victories in a day on 4 occasions. He was the squadron's top scorer with the triplane, mostly particularly in one airframe, N5493. He christened Blimp, which also became the nickname of his baby son. The unit then began flying Sopwith Camels, in which he scored a further 10 kills in July to make 14 all up for the month. When he was subsequently rotated back to England for rest, he was ranked flight lieutenant and credited with a total of 38 victories, including 15 destroyed or captured. A bar to his DSC had been gazetted on the 29th of June for exceptional daring and skill in aerial fighting on many occasions, and he received the French Croix de Guerre on the 11th of July. Becoming, along with fellow Australian and Royal Navy Air Service ace Roderick Standalis, one of the first of 3 British Empire pilots to be so decorated. In August he was awarded this Distinguished Service Order for exceptional skill and daring, followed by a bar for decoration in September for remarkable courage and boldness in attacking enemy machines. He was mentioned in dispatches on 11th of December and was promoted to Flight Commander the following month. Despite Little's prowess in combat, as an aviator he was ordinary at best, enduring a number of crash landings. What gave him the edge to a fighter pilot skill was his keen eye and excellent marksmanship, and willingness to single-handedly take on entire enemy formations and close in on his prey down to 25 yards on occasion before opening fire. He had great gun discipline. Fellow No. 8 Squadron member Reggie Sora recalled, although not a polished pilot, he was one of the most aggressive and outstanding shots with both revolver and rifle. While fellow ace Robert Compson described Little as not so much a leader as a brilliant lone hand. Small in stature with a face set grimly, he seemed the epitome of deadliness. The squadron nicknamed him Ricky after the mongoose Rikki Tikki Tavi, which outstrikes cobras in the story of the same name by Rudyard Kipling. Many who knew him saw a sensitive side, however. Noting that in addition to his skill with the gun, Little was also a collector of wildflowers, and his wife, who he had married in September of 1916, contending that his appearance in photograph blurred his sense of humour. Squadron Commander Raymond Coleshaw, who would finish the war as the Royal Navy Air Service's top-scoring ace, summed up Little as an outstanding character, bold, aggressive and courageous, yet he was gentle and kindly, a result of a brave man. Following a period of rest in England, Little turned down a desk assignment and volunteered to return to action on the Western Front, joining Lieutenant Colonel Coleshaw's No. 3 Squadron of the Royal Navy Air Service in March 1918. The unit evolved into No. 203 Squadron for the new Royal Air Force on the 1st of April. Now ranked captain, and again flying the Sopwith Camels, Little gained a further 9 successes, bringing down a Fokker triplane on the 1st of April, and concluding with 2 kills in one day on the 22nd of May, an Albatross and a DFW. During the stretch of victories on the 21st of April 1918, he was brought down unharmed by Frederick Emmen, a German ace. On the 27th of May, Little received reports that German Gotha bombers in the vicinity and took off on a moonlit evening to intercept the raiders. As he closed with one of the bombers, his plane was caught in a searchlight beam, and he was struck by a bullet that passed through both his thighs. He crash landed in a field near New York and bled to death before he was discovered the following morning by a passing French policeman, gendarme. Little's skull and ankle had also been fractured in the impact. His body was identified by friend and fellow ace Charles Dawson Brooker. Coleshaw launched an investigation, but it was never established whether the bullet came from the Gotha or from below on the ground, which were common for small arms fire. It was common for small arms fire from friendly targets, from friendly anti-aircraft, to hit the crew of fighters and bombers, sadly. Little was buried in the village cemetery at Neuilly before his body was moved to Wavens British Cemetery in Pas-de-Calais. Aged 22, he left a widow and a son. In accordance with her husband's wishes, Vera travelled back to Australia to raise the boy. Of Little's 47 confirmed victories, 20 were credited as destroyed, 2 as captured, and 25 as out of control. He was actually believed to have downed upwards of 50 aircraft by the end of the war, as more details came out. The propeller blade of Little's Sopwith triplane was fitted with a clock in its hub by his fellow officers, who presented it to his wife and widow. She transported it back to Australia in 3 pieces, and it later went on display at the Royal Australian War Museum, along with his awards and wooden cross of his original burial place in Neuilly. The Sopwith Pup he flew with No. 8 Squadron, Royal Navy Air Service, No. 5182, was rebuilt to flying standards, and in October 1976 led a flypast to commemorate the squadron's Diamond Jubilee, before going on permanent display at the Royal Air Force Museum in Hendon. One of the buildings in the Australian Defence Force Academy in Canberra, opened in 1986, was named in Little's honour. Robert Little was the top-scoring ace for Australia, and by all accounts a great man. Unfortunately, he didn't see the end of the war like so many others. Now on to our New Zealand part of the day. Keith Caldwell. Born in Wellington, the son of born in Wellington, he moved to Auckland as a child, where his father started manufacturing an importing company. He was educated at King's College in Auckland, and Wanagui Collegiate School. Sorry for my mispronunciations and stammer tonight. I do apologise. A tall, slim man noted for his grey eyes, Caldwell was also sporting-minded and enjoyed successful bouts with golf and tennis. On the eve of the war, he left school and started work as a bank clerk. On the outbreak of war in 1914, Caldwell joined the Territorial Army, but when he attempted to enlist in the New Zealand Expeditionary Forces destined for Gallipoli, he was declined. He paid £100 to join the first class at the New Zealand Flying School in October 1915, where he learned to fly on the Walsh Brothers flying boats. He referred to the aircraft as grids, or bicycles, a habit which earned him a nickname, which earned him his nickname. A quick learner, he passed his flight test in December 1915. Caldwell sailed for England on January 1916, being commissioned by the Royal Flying Corps in April. On the 29th of July in 1916, he was posted to No. 8 Squadron of the Royal Flying Corps, flying BE-2Cs and the DS variant as well. Some light reconnaissance bomber and fighter plane, two-seater basically. He was posted on observation duty for this plane first of all. On the 18th of September 1916, flying at BE-2D, he and his observer shot down a Roland C-2, which is a German observation plane. Often observers and pilots would both be able to fly the planes, and they would change depending on how many hours they had done, because it was very tasking flying constantly. In November, he transferred to 60 Squadron, flying the Newport 17 fighters. In February 1917, he was promoted to captain. By September, when the unit was converted to SE-5As, Caldwell had scored further victories, all against Albatross Scouts. He received the Military Cross on the 17th of September, by which time he had added his first victory in the SE-5A. The citation read for gallantry and devotion to duty when leading the offensive patrols. On one occasion, he led a patrol of 5 machines against 12 hostile aircraft, all of which he drove down out of control. He has personally destroyed 5 hostile machines, and he has had over 50 contests in the air, in all of which he has displayed splendid skill and fearlessness, and has set an excellent example to his squadron. In October 1917, he was posted back to England as an instructor. In March 1918, he was promoted to Major and given command of the 74th Tiger Squadron, equipped with the SE-5A, which he took to France on the 30th of March. Under Caldwell's guidance, the squadron claimed a creditable 140 aircraft destroyed, 85 out of control. In the remaining 8 months of the war, for a modest 15 pilots killed or prisoner. Caldwell fought his last combat on the 30th of October 1918, claiming his 9th Fokker DV2. Which is a Fokker biplane. Altogether, he is credited with 11 aircraft destroyed, 2 shared destroyed, 1 captured, and 11 out of control. Virtually all of his victims were single-seat scouts. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross in December 1918, the citation being a fine fighting airman of courage and determination. On the 4th of September, when on an offensive patrol, he, in company with another machine, attacked 4 Fokker biplanes. One of these was driven down by his officer. He has accounted for 5 enemy machines. Although never shot down, he once survived a mid-air collision with his 74th Squadron Codwin, Sidney Carlin, nursing his crippled aircraft to the ground level before climbing out of the cockpit and leaping for clearance. It crashed. He was okay. Caldwell fought inclusive dogfights with German aces Warner Voss and Hermann Becker, a natural pilot with excellent eyesight and a talent for finding enemy aircraft that was one of his main skills. His main weakness, however, was he was a poor shot, and frequently unable to destroy aircraft he engaged. It was the flaw that stopped him joining the ranks of the top Allied aces in the war. He was friends with many other aces as well. After the war, he transferred to the unemployed list of the RAF in July 1919. Caldwell returned to New Zealand in August 1919 after a year working for his father, who bought a farm in Glenmurray in Waikato. On 16th of May 1923, he married Dorothy Helen Gordon, the sister of ace Frederick Stanley Gordon. He had 2 daughters and 2 sons. Caldwell maintained his interest in aviation, being a founding member and first club captain of the Auckland Aero Club. He also commanded the part-time territorial division of the New Zealand Permanent Air Force, renamed the Royal New Zealand Air Force in 1934. In 1935, he was awarded the King George V Silver Jubilee Medal. In World War II, he saw service with the Royal New Zealand Air Force as station commander at Woodbourne near Blenheim, and later Wingham near Christchurch, before being posted to India in 1944, and England in 1945, where he was promoted to acting Air Commodore, achieving the full rank in 1946. Caldwell was made Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire CBE, in the 1945 New Year's Honours. He was also awarded a bar to his DFC, and in addition to his MC, as twice mentioned in dispatches, and received the Croix de Guerre from Belgium. Caldwell retired from the Air Force in 1956. After the war, he farmed in South Auckland area, retiring to live in Auckland in 1970. Sadly, he died of cancer in 1980. Again, a fantastic pilot. He tended to suffer with his gunning skills and his aiming, but his eye for detail is what got him his acedom. I would highly recommend looking up these people, looking up people of the First World War. It's very interesting to see how the pilots were. They tended to have a more gung-ho, jolly attitude than other soldiers. They sort of thought of it more of not as a game, but it was less personal. Although the Second World War tended to have less personality to it when shooting down aircraft, of course, because you couldn't see the pilots, the First World War had a similar feeling. And often pilots survived crashes because the planes were so slow, and also being a biplane, they had quite a lot of lift. They all had this sort of good attitude with their German partners as well, the German colleagues. There were some that had true hatred for them. One of the pilots under Little's command strafed a downed German plane. Little could see the 2 occupants alive in there, and his colleague strafed them and took them out. When on the ground, he asked, and he said, "I'm not taking any Germans prisoner." Of course, in war, you do have people that just, it's only natural. But the majority tended to have that sort of attitude of, well, we're all pioneers in aviation. Now, as we finish this recording, I ask that you all give thought and praise to veterans, be them of any war. It's something that is important, that we remember the people that fought for us, people that fought things that they did not want to fight for. Soldiers, there's the old saying of just following their commands, and it is very true. The men on the ground are not the people causing the horrors. It's the people in the offices, the people in the parliaments that pushed them to war. And these brave men and women choose to fight for our freedom. Now I'd like to end this video a little bit different than I normally end my videos. It's going to be with the poem called For the Fallen. I do apologise if I stammer or have issues saying some of the words in advance, but I hope you understand. With proud thanksgiving, a mother for her children, England mourns for her dead across the sea. Flesh of her flesh, they were spirit of spirit, fallen in the cause for the free. Solemn the drum frill, death august the royal. Sings sorrow up into immortal spheres. There is music in the midst of desolation, and a glory that shines upon our tears. They went with songs to battle, they were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end, and against all odds unencountered, they fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we are that left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn them. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. They mingle not with laughing comrades again. They sit no more at familiar tables of home. They have no lot in our labour of daytime. They sleep beyond England's foam. But where our desires and our hopes are profound, felt as wellspring that is hidden from sight, to the innermost heart of their own land they are known, as the stars are known to the night. As the stars that shall be bright when we are dust, moving in marches upon the heavenly plain. As the stars that are starry in time of our darkness, to the end they remain. A poem by Lawrence Bignon. Now part of that poem has the ode for Anzac. The part, they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun in the morning, we will remember them. It is said every year, Anzac Day, and as we see that sun, we will remember our troops, and all that fought for freedom. I myself am an immigrant to Australia. I'm from England, and I've been here 11 years. Australia is my home, and it will be for the rest of my life. And I thank those brave men and women who fought in all those wars, coming from this great land to fight wars that are not their own. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Screezilla out. Goodbye.